And here with former Marlins president David Samson and former MLB Executive of the Year Jim Bowden joins us from Minute Maid Park. Start with lineup changes on both sides. Take a look here. Rob Thompson putting righties Matt Vierling and Edmundo Sosa in the lineup against the lefty Framber Valdez, and Dusty Baker putting Aledmys Diaz in left, Yordan Alvarez to the DH spot against Zach Wheeler. So we'll see how that all plays out. But Jim, I want to get your thoughts on the lineup changes ahead of Game 2.
Yeah, well, of course, starting with the Houston Astros, Dusty Baker told me a few minutes ago that the key for him is he wanted to get Alvarez in the DH spot, so later in the ball game he doesn't have to worry about a situation where he may have to pinch run or something like that. He wants to make sure that bat is in there. Trey Mancini has been struggling so much. He's hitless in the postseason, and he wanted to get him out of the lineup. So Aledmys Diaz is going to get the start in left field. So he's out there for two reasons. One, because they want to get Mancini out of the lineup because he just hadn't been swinging the bat at all. And number two, he wants to protect himself with Yordan Alvarez.
I also want to make sure that Alvarez, if I'm the Houston Astros, I don't really want him thinking about left field. It's not that he's uncomfortable there, but I really want him focusing on his at-bats. Bryce Harper has not been hurt at all by being just a designated hitter with his injury, and they need to get something going at the top of that lineup. It's been a while since Alvarez was hot. That's the first round. And on the Phillies side, it really is just business as usual. Framber Valdez is a lefty, so they've got their righties in the lineup. They don't lose anything on defense. As a matter of fact, the defense, I argue, is an improvement at third base. So these are pretty standard operating procedures when it comes to lineup changes.
Alec Bohm made a couple of nice plays, though, at third in Game 1.
Yes, he did.
But I get it. Edmundo Sosa, the more sure-handed third baseman, came in to get the final out. He came in the ninth inning, or the 10th inning, rather for defensive purposes, got the final out on to first. Game 1 was historic. Teams had been 589 and 18 when leading by 5 runs in the postseason, now 589 and 19. David, you said this in the postgame about how this Phillies team isn't like any team the Astros have faced this postseason. Why?
Well, because the Phillies do not give up. And we talked about the Yankees.
Yep.
It's interesting. The Astros crushed the Yankees because the Yankees could not hit. So when you got an early lead on the Yankees, you felt as though you were going to go ahead and win that game. When it comes to the Phillies, they learned a lesson very quickly yesterday that when you get 5 runs early and you have a 5-run lead, it's something called adding on. And the Astros did not add on. And Jim Bowden knows as well as anybody in the game, when you're at home, score early. If you don't add on, it wasn't working. And therefore, you're going to see that differently tonight. The Astros are going to keep the pedal to the metal if they're going to get a victory.
Jim, how would you describe this Phillies team right now?
Relentless is the word. Look, they're really relaxed. They believe in themselves. They were the underdog against the Cardinals. They beat them. They went up against the 100-win Braves. They took care of business there. Then they took care of business with the Padres, and now they're sitting here going into Houston, who had not lost a game in the postseason, and they take away Game 1 in 10 innings. This is a team that believes in themselves. They never give up. They grind at bats, they work the count extremely well, and they move the chains. And they got a lot of confidence and a lot of swag right now. And I think winning Game 1 absolutely changes the entire series and the vibe of the entire series here. I don't think there's any question about that.
Relentless, that's the great word. Our producer said the World Series was won last night, that the Phillies won the World Series last night. It's not factual at all. It's a little prisoner of the moment. I would argue that no, they didn't win the World Series last night, but they made a huge dent. When you come back from down 5 runs to win 6-5, that can be a backbreaker. We saw what the Phillies did against the Cardinals. Perhaps this is the same sort of formula in the World Series. All right, let's get your keys for Game 2, David. What has to happen for Philadelphia to take a 2-0 series lead back home?
Well, let's start with the first thing. In that clubhouse, you've got to get greedy. We always say you go on the road for the first 2 games, you're trying to get a split. But once you get the first game, you want to get greedy and get both. Don't be satisfied with the split. 2, we've talked about the Phillies. They've got to get production from someone other than Harper. You had JT Realmuto at the podium. I'm looking at who's going to be at the podium post-game of a Phillies victory because it's got to be someone other than Harper for the Phillies to win. 3, Zach Wheeler has to go deep. Rob Thompson, for sure, has everyone available because in the World Series, everyone's always available. But the reality is you can't lean on your bullpen starting in the 4th or 5th inning every game and go to your high-leverage guys every game. Their arms will fall off. So Wheeler going deep is critical. And then the last key for me is don't think you're going to come back from 5-0 again, get out there and score early. Take the wind out of the sails of the Astros and get a lead in the first inning and see what it is to play from ahead.
The keys for me, number one, I'm going to say exactly what David just said. Zach Wheeler's got to pitch deep into the game to help save that bullpen here. Look, Wheeler has been spectacular this entire postseason, ERA of 1.7. He needs to pitch that kind of game for this team. Number two, the Phillies need to score first in this game for me to quiet the crowd. You're already up 1-0. You score early in this game, this ballpark's going to be quiet. That's a difference maker. And you want to talk about momentum. You'll have a lot of momentum if you can score first. Number three, you need to get early count hits against Framber Valdez. Valdez faced this team back in October, 5 innings, 10 strikeouts. The Phillies were working the count. They were watching deep. But if you get 1-2, 2-2 on Valdez, he comes with that curveball, which is the best curveball in the American League. He also has a cutter for left-handers that he developed this year that opponents are hitting 112 against. So if you're going to hit Valdez, you got to do it early in the count on pitch 1 or count 2, and I think that's going to be the keys to this game for Philadelphia.
Yeah, old Uncle Charlie with Framber Valdez, just 12-6 curveball. We'll see about that. All right, so how do the Astros even up this series, Jim? How does Houston punch back at home tonight?
Yeah, I think Jose Altuve's got to get out of this slump, right? I mean, he has just been in a postseason slump. He did get that jam base hit last night, but he hasn't swung the bat well, and they need him to. If they're going to win the World Series here, Jose Altuve's got to get hot. He's got to be able to set the table. Number two, you got to out-homer the Phillies. I mean, that's been the formula for the Astros the entire postseason. You out-homer the Phillies, you're supposed to win. Last night it didn't happen. If you out-homer them again tonight, it will make a difference. Number three, you got to make the defense matters. Houston has one of the best defensive teams in the entire game of baseball. The Phillies are ranked as one of the worst defensive teams, but what did we see so far in Game 1? The Phillies out-defended them. Alec Boehm, that you just mentioned, Hakeem, making that great play to his right. The play that Suarez made, incredible play. And then the Nick Castellanos catch in right field, that was a difference maker in the game. If Houston's going to win, they got to out-defend Philadelphia in this game.
For me, the keys for the Astros, they're pretty similar to the Phillies, but opposite, so explain, I'll do it. A split's not guaranteed. The mentality for the Astros, they have not come off a loss yet this entire postseason, as in last night was the first loss of the postseason. So they cannot just assume they're not going to go on a losing streak here. Go in with the mentality, hard, split's not guaranteed. Two, we talked about it earlier, score first again, but differently than last night, add on. I'm going to say it again, Dermish. I'm going to say it again. Add on, or you could be flying to Philly down 0-2. Three, where's the beef? I mean, where's the top of the lineup? Jim's focused on Altuve. I'll focus on Altuve, but I'm also going to talk about Alvarez and Pena and Bregman. Somebody in the top 4. We have to see something tonight, or the Astros could be in trouble. And last, for me, Framber Valdez is the ace of this staff. Verlander's going to win the Cy Young. But for those who have not watched Valdez pitch, it is something special. Don't pay attention to the stats that he has a 75 ERA in the last World Series. Totally different pitcher. His curveball, his fastball, the way he gets hitters out, they look foolish. He's got to be the ace tonight because guess what? He's facing the ace tonight. Zach Wheeler is even better than Aaron Nola. This is an exciting pitching matchup tonight.
Yeah, an ERA over 19. Close to 75, but
very close to 75.
Real close to 75. All right, now let's get your pick for Game 2. Both of you on the Astros in Game 1. I was on the Phillies. I'm going to toot my own horn there. Jim, there's room on the I Ride with Philly Rob bandwagon. You want to hop aboard?
No, I'm not going to hop aboard. I've got the Astros winning this game 3-2. I got Framber Valdez, who has a 1.4 ERA this postseason, to continue to pitch that way. Look, he's been one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball. And in talking to the Astros over the last couple of hours, they just looked at last night as being just another loss. I mean, they had been undefeated in the postseason. They knew they were going to lose a game sooner or later. I think they rebound, split the series, and head back to Philadelphia to get a cheesesteak 1-1.
Jim, I like riding with you, except you're not counting the Altuve solo shot to lead off the game, so my final score is 4-2. It is amazing, the Astros mentality here. They are not concerned at all about going to Philly for 3 games. They're going to get the split. They're going to go to Philly, and for them, they want to win 2 out of 3 and then come back and have to win only 1 of the last 2. It starts tonight. What Dusty Baker's really good at is making sure they're not focused on the cheesesteaks, making sure they're not focused on the flight back to Philly, making sure they take care of business and then get on that plane tomorrow. They're going to sleep in their own beds tonight, and they're going to get on the plane tomorrow with a 1-1 lead.
So in other words, take the Astros on the run line, plus 158. 4-2.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
doing the Astros
Yes.
on the run line again.
There you go.
Twice in a row.
Okay.
I'm doubling down.
Jim, the series price is now even at minus 110. So if you really love the Astros, this is the time to really hammer Houston and jump on with the train there at Minute Maid Park and roll around the stadium and really hop aboard and really hammer it, right? I mean, if you love Houston at minus 110, this is the best value you're going to get.
Yeah, I would take the value. I would. I mean, the Astros, to me, have a better team. They have a better bullpen, and I think they're built better for a 7-game series. I think, look, if this was 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5, I think the Phillies would have a legitimate chance. But using all of these relievers as much as they're going to have to use them, their bullpen's not as deep as Houston is. And I think over 7 games, minus 110, I like that bet for the Astros.
I'm actually going to average down my bet. I want to talk about that concept because I'm doing the run line tonight, but in terms of the series, I like the 110, but I'm taking my remaining bank and I'm splitting it in half just in case the Phillies win game 2, because even down 2-0, then I'm going to get plus money, and I still believe the pick of Astros in 6 is the correct pick. And remember, to win in 6, the other team has to win 2. It doesn't matter when they win the 2, because the Astros can reel off 4 in a row at any time, as we just saw in the LCS. So look at your remaining bank. Don't risk it all, but I'm doing half on the 110, and then we'll see what happens after the game today.
Look at you. Sharp David Samson.
It's money management, Dermish.
Look at you. Look at you. You and Jim. You guys are getting all savvy on me now. I'm still taking the Phillies. Give me the Phillies. Give me the Phillies. Jim, thanks. We'll see you post-game here on CBS Sports HQ. David, you'll come along as well. You'll be here with me all night long.
Thank you so much. I have a tear in my eye right here, below the bronzer.
We'll break some bread. And my brother from a fellow Jewish mother. Let's go. All right, let's go. You and I breaking bread. You know who's looking to break some bread? The Astros. They're looking to split this series. I don't know if that was a great analogy, but they're trying to split something. A piece of bread, a series. That's what we're going to try to do with Framber Valdez. David loves Framber Valdez. I don't know that I've ever heard someone love Framber Valdez as much as you do outside of his mom.
I've never met his mom, actually. But I'm talking about the discomfort that hitters feel when they're in the box. When you've got a lefty and he's not a small man, when he's coming at you with that arm angle, and then you see the curveball, you called it a 12-6. It's almost like a 15-3.
Nasty.
It is just nasty. Wait till you watch it tonight. We are an hour and 50 minutes away from first pitch. Can't wait when we'll have you covered post-game, so get back here at HQ.
Yeah, keep watching CBS Sports HQ. Phillies Astros Game 2, first pitch, 8:03 Eastern Time.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.